Well, it is wedding season. Of course it is. The spring and summer and fall is time to celebrate your love. And of course, there are tons of wedding shows, but there's one now in Ottawa that is a little bit different, and it caters to a very specific demographic that quite often is overlooked or faces some prejudice in the community and with some of the vendors. I'm talking about the LGBTQ community. And here to talk to us about their new wedding show is Angie and Julia. Welcome.
Good morning.
Thank you.
So what was the impetus, Julia? It was your idea to first come up with this last year. Why did you feel there was a need to separate out the needs of that community?
Because it became aware to us that couples, same-sex couples, were actually having to ask vendors when they call them. Like, so let's say you call a photographer, I'm a woman and I'm marrying a woman. Are you okay working with me?
Right.
And in this day and age, I just think that's atrocious. I don't think you should have to ask, and I think you should be able to just, we're getting married, I would love to have you work with us. So what we decided was we were going to create a wedding show where we have vetted all of the vendors to make sure that they are inclusive and that they look forward to the opportunity of working with same-sex couples. And so that's what we did. We just said, let's do this. And the reaction in the community has been amazing.
Yeah. Well, I think that it goes beyond even just that. So I did an interview a while ago with Robert Blackman, who wrote the Gay Groom's Guide to Weddings or something like that, and he said that it was even hard to find vendors who would do the two little guys on top of the cake, or just things that you don't think about, that you just think, oh, we'll just get a wedding cake topper, whatever. So do you focus in on that sort of thing as well?
Yes, so we have vendors from all walks of life in a wedding. We've got photographers and caterers and decorators and wedding planners and everybody. Everybody's been asked, and they'll be there.
Mm-hmm. All right, so would you say that there is a major difference at this show compared to any other show that you'd see in town, or is it more or less just a safe place?
Go ahead.
Exactly that. I think it is just like every wedding show you could go to, except our attendees walking in the door will know this is a safe, inclusive environment for me. I don't have to ask any awkward questions. They all are going to treat me like any heterosexual couple and just be willing to showcase their services and what they can offer me and help me create a great, beautiful, best day of my life.
That's wonderful.
Now, do you have wedding advisors? Because I know, again, it's one of those things of, you have to invite people. Hopefully everyone in your family and your community, extended friends, are all on board with this, but there might be that awkward uncle or, somebody, do you have that kind of service as well in wedding event planners, I suppose?
Yeah, and I think that's where the wedding planners would come in, is that they would be able to offer that advice and guidance on how we're going to address this issue if they do have concerns about someone coming to the wedding who may not be entirely comfortable with that.
Right.
Okay. So tell us about some of the vendors that will be there, because obviously you've got a beautiful cake, we've got some place settings, some flowers. Who can we look forward to seeing?
So we brought a few pieces of some of the vendors that are participating with us. So we have a beautiful cake by Edible Designs out of Merrickville area, as well. Pretty Pots Flower Shop in Stittsville is doing some floral centerpieces for our VIP tables for the luncheon. Of course,
Linen.
Groovy Linen has done our linens
and the
chargers.
catering. I mean, just looking over the menu earlier is pretty impressive. I would go just for the lunch. I'm not even getting married.
Great. So the Ottawa Conference Event Center Food and Beverage team is doing the lunch and are one of our key sponsors for the event as well.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So how many people do you expect to go to this event? What
It's
are you
our
looking
first
for?
year, right? So that's hard to forecast our numbers. Obviously, our goal would be, let's see, 250 people through the door. That would be wonderful.
So do you happen to know if this is a first for maybe even Canada, or definitely
It's
for the,
not.
no?
Not a first for Canada. No, there was previously a show in Toronto and London, Ontario.
And obviously successful.
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know being London, Southern Ontario, they drew a lot of couples from the U.S. side as well. Looking
So when
for
you're
people.
planning something like this, I mean, you talk about the LGBTQ community. That's a lot of letters, and there's even more that come after that. And obviously, not every slice of that pie is going to be wanting the same sort of thing. So how do you answer that when you're booking vendors?
We've actually taken the time to educate our vendors, so we've sent them on a monthly basis. We've been sending them notices saying, you know, these are the different requirements of dealing with a transgender couple versus dealing with a gay couple,
Okay, great.
versus dealing with a lesbian couple. And, you know, keywords to use, keywords to avoid, you know, how to ask questions without, you know, putting your foot in your mouth or,
Right.
you know, that kind of thing. So, and then every vendor from there, it's up to them to take it from there and do the best they can with.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And we were talking about obviously the similarities between this show and any other wedding show. So what differences would there be? I mean, would you notice things that maybe would cater more towards that community, or what would you see at this event? Anything?
I think the only real difference is going to be that the vendors, that we know the vendors are inclusive, for sure. A lot of the vendors have redone a lot of their marketing material, which they've been very proud to share with
Amazing.
us, that they've
Right.
created new, like photographers created new wedding albums that have just same-sex couples in them. People have changed their questionnaires. People have changed like everything, trying to make sure that they
All
make
those
this
little
the best
details you don't
opportunity.
think about, right?
Yeah, and it just
exactly.
makes people feel so much more comfortable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is crazy when you said, because same-sex marriage came into law in 2005, so we're talking 11 years ago.
Yes.
And the fact that there's even any kind of, no offense, but this event shouldn't have to even happen.
Exactly.
Right.
No, you're
But
exactly
it's
right.
fantastic that it
But we're
is.
glad it is
Yeah.
happening, for sure.
Yeah. Well, we hope we bridge that gap, and then
So-
eventually
so-
we won't be needed.
Where can people find tickets, and where will you be?
So tickets will be available at the door, which will be at the Ottawa Conference Event Centre at 200 Coventry Road. Show doors open at 11 and close at 4.
And that's this Saturday.
That's this Saturday.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
Awesome, great, that's
Sounds like
fantastic.
fun.
Well, it
Great.
does sound like a lot of fun, and don't forget the VIP lunch as well. That's also on the cards. Up next, we've got magic coming into the studio. Yes, we're not talking tax magic. We are talking the magic of Michael. Yes, a little bit of
magic of
that.
Michael is
Right back
next.
after this.